So 2 participations. Okay. All right. Awesome. Hi. So yes, before I move on, I just want to remind you of what we did last time. So basically, for last time, we went over some, like some basic checkings of even or odd numbers because I think this is going to be somewhat very necessary, right? This is basically an instance of checking for even or odd numbers using what's it called a modulator, a mod operations. So we went over some basics operators in the last sessions as well. Went over the extract the quotient. So this operator // will extract the quotient from the results of the operation. The mod operators, which you can see on your keyboard as SHIFT5, will extract the remainder of the operation. It seems like Jordan has something to say. So Jordan, do you have any questions? Feel free to put it in the chat because we're unable to unmute you due to the volume of students. So feel free to put your questions in the chat and I'll answer them. Okay. No one? Have any questions so far? Again, raising a hand and we're unable to do that, so you need to put the questions in the chat so we can answer them. Idris, you have any questions or are you good? Okay, that's fine. All right, I think the students tab. Okay, so it's disabled. Oh. Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So yes, just to inform, for the time being, the chat will be disabled. So yeah, for the time being, the chat will be disabled. Because of some technical issues has been going on, and then we decided to disable the chat for the time being. I know, is there a way to answer the sessions? However, if you can go onto this link, one of the ways is that you can actually go onto this link and type in the question over here. So because the chat has already been disabled due to some technical issues, so one thing you could do is to go to this link and just type in the questions right below here with any numbers, with any colors, and I will. So again, I will share this link again to interested in doing this. Something is wrong with this. Yeah, again, just put your questions down right here. Yeah. Hopefully continue sharing screen. Copy the link. All right. So again, if you have any questions, please put the questions on this link. At the bottom of these files, please put the questions below here at the bottom, which I marked as questions over here. Yeah. Bigger. Yep. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Put your questions down here. Since for the time being, Varsity Tutors link, the features in the Zoom link has already been disabled. Let's just for the time being put the questions here, and we will fix that in the next session. Sorry for the inconvenience. But yeah, let's review this thing again. And for those who have their hand raised, again, the best way to get the best way to get the response from me or for questions is to put your questions under the Zoom link, under the Google Doc link over here. I already put, I think, I already put the Zoom link, the Google Doc link in the Varsity Tutor chat. Hopefully it works on my end. But yeah, just put your questions right here and I will respond to them. Yeah. And I think I've already shared this already. This link can view and comment. Yeah. Can edit. Awesome. So let's copy this link again. I think this would work. I think I haven't enabled the features yet, but this would work to make the edit to work. Yeah. Awesome. So use this link instead. Use this link instead. The latest link will allow you to the latest link will allow you to edit. Okay then. Well, this is the mess. All right. So again, we cannot move on to sessions. With students getting around with that, perhaps I will remove. Perhaps I will do remove right here. All right. Please again respect other. Please again respect other students. They also have questions as well. So yes, don't delete the files. Right. Okay. Okay. So, all right. So I know. Okay. So for the time being, on Zoom link has been the Zoom link until like we fix the technical issues that we're having with the Zoom link. We're not having any interactions with the students today. Although the students can go along with what I'm doing with the lectures, it's fine. But I would not be able to answer students' questions on the problem. So whatever the concerns student may have, I cannot be able to answer them. So yeah, unfortunately, I sincerely apologize for this event. This is something unprecedented happening right now. So I know that there's a lot of students who are having some questions regarding the materials and even the past materials. But yes, until we figured out how to solve problems, we're not able to make some interactions between the student and the tutor. So for the time being, I will also resume the session because we still have some time. But unfortunately, I will not be able to answer students' questions because not only the chat is disabled, but also the Google Doc is also has some issues with other students messing around. So yes, so please bear with me until we can actually fix the problem on the Wednesday sessions. And then we can actually start to have something to work on with the questions and answers. So for the time being, I'm just gonna resume the sessions with only the materials provided right here. It's gonna be difficult, but bear with me. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna overcome this on Wednesday. It's gonna be back to normal. All right. So let's get started. Let's cut all the chit chat and then let's get started. So I think I'm gonna share it again. Awesome. So let's not waste any time. Let's get started again. I'm going to go as slow as possible to accommodate for students who are having some problems, some accessing problems, or some, or maybe have some internet accessing problems. Yeah. So again, last sessions, we went over some very, very basic operators in Python. We went over an operator // which essentially does is to extract the quotient from the result of the operation. So let's do this thing again. For some new students, don't worry. That's fine. We can quickly go over something like this again. So if you run something like this, say you have 7 divided by 2, right? Let me try to toggle this again.
Mama. Mama.
I'm trying to toggle this. Say you have 7 divided by 2, that would give you 0.5, right? But now I want to extract the quotient of this operation, right? So 7 divided by 2 is 3. Quotient is 3 and remainder is 1. So how do you get the quotient? I do the print /b, a/b. This will extract the quotients, the results of the operation. So if you do something like this, yeah, see? This is the quotient from the operation 7 divided by 2, right? So doing the same thing, how can I extract the remainder of this operation 7 divided by 2? I do the modulars here. If I do the modular operators right here, I'll be able to extract the remainder of the operation in this, thing, right? So let's run it and test it to us. Awesome. So with this, we can confirm by 2 will get us 3 as the quotient and will get us 1 as a remainder. So I believe so far it's crystal clear how this do. Some extra element is introduced is the double slash and this modular operators. No big deal. We'll get from there. All right. So then we learned about how to raise a number to a certain power of b, right? Say I want to raise a to a power of b. Raise a to power b is basically like raising, I'm taking this a, it multiplies by b number amount of times, right? So when I say raise a to the power of b, I'm saying I'm raising a to the b number amount of times. That's it. So I'm multiplying b the number amount of times. Yeah, I'm multiplying itself to the number amount. So basically, if I do something like this, a. So if I do 7 to the power of b is equivalent to, if I do 7 to the power of 2 is actually equivalent to 7 times 7. Right? I'm raising this a, which is 7, and multiplies it by the number. It multiplies itself this number of amount of times, so 2 times. So 7 times 7 is 49. So if you do 7 to the power of 3, this will give me, I'm going to multiply 7 by 3 times 7. So, so just to clarify what raising a to the power of b means, right? And this operation can be achieved by using the double asterisk over there. right? You will be able to play around with it. As you go around with Replit, you'll be able to play around with it easily. Right? So, with that said, let's move on to the next one. Because this is just revision, right? We're not going to go over everything so slow in the revision. But at the same time, I'm trying to like really accommodate for students, who are having some problems accessing the internet or internet connections due to the virtual classes or anything. Yeah. So again, with that, we're able to really, determine how to check whether a number is odd or even. So last time we did something like this. Last time let's say I want to set A is again A is equal to 56, right? I want to check if this number is odd or even, right? So what I do is that if I do A mod by 2, and A is clearly an even number. If A mod by 2 is basically like when I just say that else if A mod by 2 is equal to 1, then I can say that A is odd. And if I run something like this, let's say 56 is even, right? This A is equal to 56, and 56 is clearly even because A mod by 2 is equal to 0. This is an even number. And you can just change this thing to any number you like. You can check it 17, right? And then you just give you like, an odd, right? 17 is an odd. Something like that. And the reason why we ever come up with the solution is because we actually compute things above. We actually want to figure out what is odd number, how to represent an odd number mathematically, right? We represent an odd number mathematically using just a simple, visually represented stuff thing. So if 2 is equal to 2 times 1, 4 is equal to 2 times 2, 8 is equal to 2 times 4, 100 is equal to 2 times 50. So you know that to more generic, an even number is just equal to n, where n ranges from negative infinity to positive infinity. So this, to sum up, is the mathematical, representations of an even number, right? Where n, we specifically ranges from negative infinity to positive infinity. In other words, n can be any number. Where n can be any number, as long as when you times a number by 2, you get an even number. So any number multiplies by 2, then you get an even number. That's in layman terms how you would interpret that. So doing the same thing. What is an odd number? I can actually do something like that. But yeah, what is an odd number? An odd number is basically an even number, like which is one notch below it, an even number that is below that odd number plus 1, right? So 7 is equal to 6 plus 1, which is 2 times 3 plus 1, 11 is 10 plus 1, yada, yada, yada. So eventually, you can visually see that this is the pattern, right? This is clearly the patterns, right? So with that, we can, mathematically represent the odd number as the even number, which is 2 times n plus 1, right? And again, ranges from infinity, positive infinity to negative infinity to positive infinity, right? In other words, in layman term, I can actually say that if an odd number, an odd number is just equivalent to an even number plus 1. You can figure something like that. Even number is just any number times 2. One odd number is just basically an even number plus 1. Because 2 times n is an even number right here, right? So you can interpret odd number as just even number plus 1, right? And again, we did all this thing. We derived all of these things in the last sessions. We also have I also sent the Google Doc link to you already. So I would just say that I think even though I don't know what you're having right now, I don't know what you're thinking right now, but I think and I believe that you've already had a strong or a firm understanding of the concept. I believe in you. I believe in you. So, yes, I believe in you. So, with this, again, you'll be able to check whether a number is odd or even using this modular operators. Right? With this knowledge, we derive this. This concept using this knowledge above of even and odd number. Right. So that's how you would do that. So that's so far. That's really all covered in the last sessions, which is great. We actually got pretty much there, right? So let's demonstrate a few more examples of it. So yeah, so let's write a very interesting program. Let's practice. So we all got a toolbox. So let me list all the toolboxes we've been having so far. We learned about for loop. We learn about how to generate a sequence, like generating sequence using for loop, right? It's like 0 to 1, 0 to 10, positive sequence, negative sequence using for loop, right? So that's what we have fundamentally been doing, right? Using a for loop. We learn about if else, if, elif, and else structures, right? So essentially, that's what we've been doing so far as well. We learned about office word conditioning, like if this is not true, elif is not true, then go to the else, something like that. We went over that, I think, a couple 2 sessions ago, right? We went over for 2 sessions, I believe. Yeah. So, and then we also talked about. We talked about like how to check if a number is odd or even. Yeah, like this thing above right here, which is totally great because using this toolbox, we're able to make some very fun, interesting application as well. And that's more or less a practice. We learned about I think we learned about string. Again, string is sticky. It's like rice cake. So string, again, whenever you think about a string, make sure you think about a rice cake, right? Because again, rice cake. The reason why you think about rice cake because rice cake is sticky, right, and sliceable. Right? So is string. String is sticky and is sliceable. You can slice a string in just a portion of it. Again, for just the revisions for those who don't remember how to slice a string, so you have to string hello, hello, something like that. So whatever you want to slice a string you want to slice a string first. Again, string is a slice cake. String is a rice cake, right? So if you want to slice it, you need to take the rice cake first. Then you need to have something slice a rice cake. You need to put it on a table or something, right? So bracket, closing square bracket, and open. It's a table, right? And then inside that, you want to specify, where in regions which you want to slice a string to, right? So say I want to slice a string, this string hello, from this characters, which means at the 0 index, at the 3rd index, right? But again, that's the word hell over here. If we want to slice the word hell over here from 0 to 3, does this thing work? Then does this thing really work? Let me actually do something like this. Does this thing really work? No, I mean it is. Yeah, it kind of works. Yes, but no. It's hell without the last L characters, right? So how can we actually fix that? Remember, we slice a string something like this. We want to specify the start index, which is 0, and this 3rd index is basically the string we want to slice up to, but not including the 3rd index. So in order to include the characters at 3rd index as well, what we need to do is we're going to the 4th index, because if we slice into the 4th index, it's gonna, you're gonna slice from the specifying start index to the fourth index up to the fourth index, but not including the character at the fourth index, just the old characters over there, right? So if I do the 4 right here, again, this is just revision. Give me the hell. It will give me the hell substring, right? I don't know. This is just coincidence, okay? This is a coincidence. All right. So yeah, that's actually why do I delete it? So this is how you would do that. But then let's get the problem. We got all these utilities with us already. But essentially, why having all these tools without knowing how to use them, right? We need to basically try to combine toolboxes that we already have into writing something in order to have something to make sense, right? Like knowing a lot of utilities doesn't mean that you're going to be a very great programmer, right? A great programmer knows how to wear many hats, right? In this case, it just means that you know a lot. A great programmer knows how to wear many, somehow combine these utilities together, right, to make something interesting. So again, if it has to write a program, that prints dim for that's print say dim for an even number, for an odd number, for an odd number. For an even number, for an odd number, well, actually, think about some different problem. Say dim for a number that is divided but is divisible. That's divisible by 3. Sum for a number that is divisible 5, and dim sum. Print dim sum. It needs to know how to print dim sum for a number that is divisible by both 3 and 5, and print, and maybe if none of the condition applies, and print that number only, right? So again, say I want to write a program that print dim for a number that is divisible by 3. Again, sum for a number that's divisible by 5, dim sum for 3 and 5, so on and so forth, right? In a sequence of 1 to 20. Right? So when you look at now again, let's take a step back. You may think the problem is kind of long, right? It's all the words, there's no numbers here. But in fact, this is actually a plus, because if there's a problem that contains only mathematical operations, then surely that would really creep me out. That really scares me out, right? So the moment when you look at the problem statement, try to figure out the keywords that associate with the knowledge, with the toolboxes that you have already learned. So let's a few keys that associate with whatever the two sections, right? When I take a look at this problem, what do I see? First thing I do, I see a sequence over here. Well, the first time I see a sequence of 1 to 20, I know that there's going to be a for loop. It must be going to be a for loop problem. This problem asks me to, basically use or generate a sequence from 1 to 20. So if it were to change this problem to 100, so how would I check 100 numbers without using a for loop? it'll be tad tedious, right? So immediately when I read this problem, I know, or because I already did this thing, so I know that immediately I know that it's gonna be using a for loop. But I'm talking, from the perspective as if I'm the person who are new to this problem. I'm trying to my thought process as a person who is completely new to this problem. So when I'm new to this problem, when I read this problem, what do I do first? I make a few keywords first. I take a look at the few keywords that might be associated with things that I've learned so far. I think a sequence over there. So what is somebody saying about a sequence of numbers, something like that? I know that. So for loop must be something we need to do. We need to have, right? That's that. Another thing is the print. So okay, so I need to print out something. I need to print them, and I need to print some. I need to print them, right? That's cool. So another key right here is divisible. Divisible. We learned about divisibility before, right? Divisible. So what is the thing that what mathematical operations allows to get with a number divisible by certain. Well, I think we already went over in the last sessions, and we just review over here. This modular operator and this over here really allows me whether a number is divisible by a certain number or not. But remember, when you read this thing, I want you to associate the fact that if A is equal to 0, simply means that if A is divisible by 2, because divisible means that you have 0 remainder. If you A and you want to find the remainder of this operation A divided by 2, and this if this returns you 0, it's just another way to interpret that this is not just divisible. It's not. It does not have remainder, so this is completely divisible. Indivisible by what? This number A is divisible by 2, right? So same thing over here. We use a modular operator. We use a modular operator to check for divisibility between 3, 5, and 3 and 5, right? Because here it's going to be different, right? Here's going to be different. Then do this problem. I think no. I think I haven't done this problem before. At least to this class. Okay. Awesome. So when you take a look at the problem again, highlight the keyword. Whatever the keyword that you associate with this problem, make sure that you note it well. This time. Okay, so let's write the code. Again, because there's another keywords over here. If it's divisible by 3, sum is divisible by 5, and the sum for here is equal to both 3 and 5. So, there's no explicit keyword that you can actually see in this program. But just by reading this program, you know that you have to handle 3 scenarios. When by 3, you print dim. When a number is divisible by 5, you print sum. When a number is divisible by both 3 and 5, so you have 3 cases. And what is exactly the sort of control flow we've been learning to handle the 3 cases? We'll learn about if, else, if, elif, and else, right? That will allow us to handle the 3 cases. Dim, dim sum, and dim sum, right? So, again, after taking all of these into considerations, I'm ready to dig in doing this problem. And unfortunately, again, I apologize for not being able to answer your questions. I know that some of you might have some lingering questions in your head, but bear with me this time, and hopefully on Wednesday this problem will be fixed, and we'll go to interactions between us. Yeah. Again, for the time being, I've just laid out all the analysis so far for you, so that like you may have like some sort of like a template to know at every single problem. You know, you also need to take a step back before jumping into doing that. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but you know, there's always some trade-offs. It's not expected. It really depends on it really on every individual, right? But I'd like to take a step back and analyze the problem first, because you know. All right. So awesome. So let's start into the questions. So I know. So again, what do I do first? I know that I'm gonna try to check whether a certain number is divisible by both 1 and 3 and 5, right? So I know I'm gonna try to generate a sequence, right? So we do for I in rank maybe 20. Would this work? Because if I do for I in rank 20, it will print actually a sequence of number from 0 to 20, so to 19, right? Up to 20, but not including the 20, right? So how do I solve this? I start the sequence at 1, so I should put 1 right here. I end the sequence at 21, so I should put 20. I end the sequence at 20, so I should end the sequence at 21 over here to guarantee that it's going to generate a sequence from 1 to 21, but not including 21. So in other words, generate a sequence from 1 to 20. Confounding, isn't it? Anyway, awesome. So I, at every single iterations, I is going to be a number from 1 to 20, right? So now let's check if I is divisible by 3, right? If I is divisible by 3, then okay, let's say I jump start the problem. Okay, 3 again, divisible is right here. If I is divisible by 3, so I mod 3 is equal to 0, which means that this number when divided by 3 has no remainder. So that's why, you know, divisible by 3 we print, you know. All right, awesome. So again, if I say I divisible by 5 equal to 0, I print sum. All right, that's cool. So if I is divisible by both 3 and let me do something like this, and I is divisible by 5, well, we've got, you know, we print dim sum, right? And so if like maybe, you know, if none of that happens, none of that really happened, put an else in here. So or you can do something like if I is not divisible by 3, and maybe not is right here. Or for a time you don't have to learn about not. So let's say else right here. Else print I. Right? So yeah. That's it. So there's gonna be a for loop that prints this thing out for us. But let's try to check if this thing is actually works. Right? I have a feeling this would work, but I don't know why this feeling is so. I don't know. It's not. Maybe it's not gonna work. All right. So one print 1, 2, and dim. Right. Okay. So 1 is not divisible by both 3 and 5, so it prints 1 itself. Right. And then 2 is not divisible by both 3 and 5, so it prints 2. Dim is right, but then it prints the I. And then when it prints the dim, so when that number is divisible by 3, it should print a dim, right? And then it should move on printing the 4. But then now it prints the dim, and it prints the 3, right? How odd that is. How odd it is. So how do we solve this problem? Well, I mean, because I have to handle these scenarios using if, and because I have a lot of scenarios right here, maybe using an if-else structure might not be very wise. So maybe I will be using an if-elif structure instead, just like what we went over in the previous sessions. Say if this happens, right? If elif else. If this happens, we try to handle events if this number is divisible by 3 first. Then if it's not, check if it's divisible by 5. If it's not, check if it's divisible by both 3 and 5. If it's not, then go to else. Right? Yeah, but see if it's actually real words. No, it does not work. It does not work. It gives us even like something. Well, I mean, let's try to check this again. So it prints 1 and 2. It is still printing 3 over here. Surprisingly, it's still printing the 3 over here, right? It should print dim and then done, and then it should print, I over here, right? It should print 4 over here, right? But now it just keep printing 3 over here again. So why is it? In addition, so from the sequence of 1 to 20, which number is, from the sequence of 1 to 20, yes, which number is divisible by both 3 and 5? 15. Right. 15. And yet, I know 15 right here, it should print a dim. It should print a dim sum. But no, it prints a dim first. Why? Because 15 is divisible by 3. It prints a dim, then stops. Right? Then goes to the next iteration instead. Right? So we don't want that. We don't want that number to print we don't want this condition to go first. So again, last time I think I have already went over this, but last time I said that like changing the conditions may also affect the output as well. So you change the order of this, it can also affect the output as well. So how do we solve this problem? How do we make it somewhat at online, maybe at I is equal to 15, it will print dim sum for us. Again, I want to emphasize this thing again. Changing the conditions of the if statement does affect your output, maybe drastically. Right? So what we can do is to first check if this number, is divisible by both 3 and 5. If it does, print dim sum. And then I replace this statement over here, down below. If this statement is divisible by 3, print dim. If none of that applies, then print 9. Let's see what happens. Awesome. 1, 2, dim, 3, 4, sum. Oh, what? Let me actually remove the doublet. Yeah.
What?
Oh, dang. Internet connections. Alright. Awesome. We got a new one. So, let's run this and see what happens. Alright. Seems very promising. 1, 2, dim, 4, sum, dim. Dim, why? Because it's divisible by 3. 6 is divisible by 3. 7, 8, dim, 9 is divisible by 3. Sum, 10 divisible by 5, so print sum. 11, dim, so 12 divisible by 3. 13, 14, dim sum. So we got it to work, right? By replacing or by just reordering the conditions, we'll be able to make something like this to work. Right? So you see how changing the condition of this, it's not like you always need to follow what the problem statement says. It's not. It's about getting the correct behavior of the program by just tweaking, the condition a little bit. So sometimes you need to be like somewhat more, somewhat more. I'm trying to think of the adjective, but it might take for a while. But yeah, just need to be a little bit, sharper on this. I would say, do a lot of practices. Like just think about just before going to the problem, step back, analyze them, see what toolboxes you may already have to solve this problem, right? because understanding what you're doing is important. If you write the code and it works but you don't know why, it's just I say it's pretty funny if you actually write a code but it works and you don't know why. Correct. The code works but you don't know why. So it's actually a very funny instance of people on the internet nowadays. But yes, this is actually works. This works perfectly well, and this is the expected behavior that we want to have. Again, I know that I might be going the sessions, the lecture and the sessions at lightning speed. I apologize for since I don't know about since I cannot know whether you have any questions or not. I know that you there's a lot of lingering questions right now, and I cannot answer them, nor I know what that. So yeah, please bear with me. For the time being, this is gonna be what will be introduced. Any new trying to really using the toolboxes. Again, I'm trying to emphasize whatever toolboxes right here because it's just going to be something you're going to go along with that. You're going to remember what you currently have. You're going to associate currently have by just reading the prompts over here, right? This problem statement seems to be like a very wordy, some verbose problem statement. But again, if you can actually know and just try to understand those toolboxes that you currently have, try to break this problem down into something, highlighting the keywords you understand. Make sure you understand them from well enough so that you can actually start working on this problem. Yeah, it's gonna be very important. And you remember then the how we break down the analysis into step by step by step, and to do the checking is very important as well. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Again, no questions. Because of the technical issues we have today. Apologize. But then, what can I do now? Yeah. I'll hope. Well, I hope I can demonstrate you the thing over here. I hope that you can. Oh yeah, actually you will see. So what I'm gonna do now is gonna demonstrate a program. So again, you used to remember the chess game that we made earlier. Right? I sent a few people the chess game that I made earlier, and and again, if you weren't able to know about the rules, just read the rules. I think I haven't been explicit enough on the rules as well. But this is like an improved version of chess game I made. So it was this chess game so that you were able to play this chess game on two different devices. Maybe you have two laptops and you can actually play this chess game on two different laptops. So this is what I call a socket. You don't need to know about this. This is a Python code that I wrote and I add something extra into it so that I will be able to communicate between two laptop devices on the same IP address with the same two laptop devices in the same local area network. And by that way, I'll be able to communicate between two devices to play chess. So this is just an application for demonstration purpose. I want to introduce any extra materials from today because of the unprecedented technical issues that we're having right now. So instead, I'm just going to showcase whatever I've been doing so far. I might consider doing some Pygame, but I have been able to really go over some like toolboxes that a Pygame have. Kind of hesitating on doing that. You see, there's a chess game right now that I'm actually trying to create some classes and some Pygame classes in order to really make this thing to work for students. But I haven't been able to because I was kind of busy for that thing. But yeah, now I will demonstrate how this thing would work. So what I do is that I will open the command prompt. Oh, actually, let's go to right here, the Python right here. Yep, the Python. No, the Python. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna split the screen over here. There's 2 terminals. All right. So what I do is that I will call what's called the maybe just game server 2.py, and I want to. So there are 2 programs in here. There are 2 programs in here I made. I made the just game server vir2.py and just game client vir2.py. So if you play games, you must know that there's what we call a server computer, like a server, what's called a host, and also the client for which you're playing, which is you, because you are playing the server's game. So the host game, so basically you are the clients. When you're playing the game like League of Legends, you're always on the server, on the client end, right? You're always on the receiving end, where the server is basically hosting the game. So this is based on the same principle, right? I have a Python just game server vir2.py, and I have a Python just game I think client vir2.py. Okay, so you see these 2 programs will be working concurrently. So if I were to say yes right here, yes over here, awesome. So now if I move keys on the server side, the client side would also receive that as well. So take a look. So say again, if you weren't able to really play the chess game, here's some advice. So you see on right here, there's a row. This row really, it's basically give us these coordinates. So if you want to move this point over here, just take a look at this point. This one is D2. Row column 2, row column D, row 2, so it's gonna be D2. So always specify the source or the pawn that you want to move forward, right? So if you do something like that, and then you want the pawn to move like 2 steps forward, so D4. So from D2 to D4, just put D4 right here. And now, as you enter this, observe what happens on the client side. The client side would also move as well. So you see how these programs are actually talk to each other, right? This one is client, one is the server, right? One is the server, one is the client. How these programs actually talking to each other, and the clients at the same time can also respond to this as well. So if the client is like, the client might just decide to, maybe to move to this pawn over here, E7. E7 is column E to column E, row 5. So at the same time, the client would also remove would also receive the move or the command from the server. Also remove the command. This also receive the command from the client as well. So let's see. Awesome. This is how it works. This is how the client and server can communicate with one another. You can write some very simple applications in Python. Thing is that I added this thing over here. I added this little funky code. I know this is kind of funky for the time being, and I added the server. I added the client, so that's why I was able to run something like this. But it's just to show that just stick to the basic. Just stick to the basic, and then just be able to or just stick to the basic first, because the reason why I was able to build something like this, is because I stick to the basic. You see, on this code, it's just basically if. It's just basically a printing statement. It's just basically about if and else if and printing statement, right? So if you were able to stick to the basic first, just grasp the fundamentals firmly, then you'll be able to build something like this as well. And I'm not saying that this is going to be like the greatest project ever. This is just the project for demo, but just to show you how you can actually build something bigger, something complex. Something bigger, something as complex as this by just knowing about the basic stuff, because complex system is built up. is built upon some basic system, right? Or communicate, like communicate and responding, right? So that's just something. I hope that you can walk away into the sessions with some insights, some understanding of of code analysis, how to break down the analysis into step-by-step problems and solve the problems instead of just start to doing the problems and hope that and hope that it would run on first try. But I mean, that's what I did. That's that. I mean, I won't review that, but that's actually what I did. Like that approach was kind of foolhardy, so I decided not to. But yes, again, thank you for joining the sessions. Sincerely apologize for the technical issues that we're having right now. In the next sessions, we hope to iterate so that we can answer some questions, common concern from the students regarding the session, regarding the lectures for today. Again, I will. Again, I know that. Well, yeah. Again, on the Google Doc, if you still use them as a reliable sessions, I would remove every single person on the Google Doc and try to add them again on the next sessions. I truly apologize for the event. Some actually delete everything, but yeah, I have the copy. I have the original. I have the rights of the original. Okay, so yes, if you want me to send over you personally, just send me an email. If you want me to send you the something that we went over today, just send me an email, and I will send over the materials for you personally. With that said, we'd like to end the session today. Thank you for joining this session again, and I will see you on Wednesday.